Steve Davis, 12.
Steve misses far more of those long ones these days than he ever used to. Old age creeping on, I suppose.
Now then, Ken, as I say, is a fairly aggressive player. A chance off the yellow here to get into the reds. And that's the time that you need just a little bit of luck. Hit it well. But it's important that Ken retains his concentration. He'll be immensely relieved at winning that last frame, but very important that he tries and keeps the pressure on Steve.
He's soon to become a father. That'll put the pressure on. So near and yet so far. And now a chance. That is for the former world champion.
One. Six. Steve Davis, 6.
All right, I expected Steve to make more of that visit.
Yes, well, Steve nowadays doesn't seem to maintain his concentration for quite as long periods as he used to, Ted, and we're used to seeing him this season having the odd lapse and missing a quite easy pot without any good reason. But I think Ken, again, hasn't played too good a shot. Not punished Steve for the bad shot he played.
One.
A great try.
Well, there is a red on to the right corner, but Steve would have to use the rest. No colour available, so I don't think he'll be taking it on. Steve could possibly play this one cushion first to try and get out onto the pink, but it would make it a bit more awkward.
Had a bit of a bash there, Ray.
Yes, I don't quite know what he was hoping for there, Ted, but could well have left his opponent an easier red on than he has done. It was a great shot from Steve Davis, finding just the most awkward place on that far end of the table to leave the cue ball. Ken forced to have a go here, I think.
So now, let's see what Steve Davis can make of this little lot. Well, not too much, apparently.
One. Five. Six. 12. 30.
Oh dear, what a bad miss that was.
30.
Yes, he's very talented, Ted, but it's a raw talent at the moment, and just sometimes tries to play too big a shot. And never so easy in matches, and certainly not easy when you're at the Crucible.
Well, all you fans out there know that we're live with you from the Crucible, and of course it's a bit of an awe for young Ken. Well aware of his opponent's abilities.
7. 'Steve Davis. 7. Foul. Steve Davis.
Well, Steve looking at the red down the back cushion. By no means a certainty. And that was a good shot.
Fine. Six.
Yes, another good one there to put him 20 points ahead. Using a lot of left-hand side on the cue ball, bringing it out for this pink.
Twelve.
Oh, a long way away from that.
Steve Davis. 12.
Well, Ken faced with a shot to nothing, the red in the middle of the table. Or the red down the side cushion, which is a much more committed shot. That was a very difficult safety shot off that ball, and he's a little bit lucky to have covered the red behind the pink.
Now, he's 26 points behind. Can he make up that leeway?
One. Seven. Eight.
So we'll now try and leave himself an angle on the pink
14.
to drop onto the final red. 43 points on the table, 12 points behind.
50.
And that looks pretty good. Looks to be about perfect.
One.
Oh, a crunch ball, this one.
Now, is he straight on the pink, or can he get down towards the yellow? And he's a little unlucky there, Ken, finishing absolutely straight, which left him no alternative but to just knock the pink in. But he's 2 points in front.
Ken Doherty.
And he's hidden the yellow behind the brown. Where's this going to finish? It's a free ball.
4. The free ball, Ken Doherty.
That glass of water is more a nervous habit than a drink.
And Steve Davis, I think, is probably a little bit fortunate to have left a free ball rather than leaving Ken Doherty a chance on the yellow. Another couple of inches on the cue ball and he'd have had a perfect angle to knock the yellow in, take it down towards the green.
Now, is he trying to put the cue ball behind the blue? No, he's not. Yes, what a lovely shot that was. Perfect strength.
Now this is the big shot for Ken. Just the blue required. 15 points in front, but this one not easy with the rest by any stretch of the imagination.
Good one. And that surely makes this frame safe. 20 points ahead, 13 points left on the table, as you can see.
Doherty, 40.
This must be it then. The young Irishman then takes 2 frames in a row and now trails by 2 frames at 4 frames to 2.
Oh, good frame, wasn't it? And you're not going to miss anything because we're staying with this Steve Davis match. That's how he fits into the draw. Everybody says that's the most difficult half of the draw. Davis 4-2 up there against Ken Doherty. And Tony Mayo, as you see, with his head in front against Craig Edwards. That's their first session. But it's the difficult half of the draw is really in the top part, because Davis would probably meet Parrott in the semi-finals if it all went to form. But if you take a look at the other half of the draw where Stephen Hendry is playing, you see it's far more difficult. He's had a good start to the day. Hendry leading Warren King 6-3. That's played to a finish tonight. And Hendry getting breaks of 135 and 122 in that. But of course the man he's got to beat in the semi-final, if it all goes to plan, would have to be Jimmy White, who's very much on form at the moment. So for Hendry to make the final and hope to regain his title, he's got to beat White in the semi-final. Incidentally, Alan Robidoux and Steve Newbury are playing today, and I can update you on that. That's the score at the moment. Robidoux 5, Newbury 3. All these matches, the best of 19 frames. Anyway, enjoy your seat in the Crucible because they're off again, and it's 2-4. Doherty having a good run there, 2 frames in a row, just breaking off as Steve Davis comes back to the table here just before 6:15 on this first day in the Crucible.
And the young Irishman playing a very sensible game.
And it's quite noticeable that Steve Davis, before the mid-session interval, had speeded up, was playing attacking, aggressive snooker, but having lost the first frame after the interval, he's rather gone back into his shell, missing pots that we'd expect him to get. And if this young man can keep his concentration and not do anything real silly, everything's available to him.
6. Seven.
And certainly if he takes this red on, he's going to split the pack somewhat.
15. 22.
Going for that extension. He's not a terribly tall chappie, is Ken. Oh, dear, dear.
Ken Doherty, 22. One. Seven. Eight. Steve Davis, 8.
Extraordinary how he sort of suddenly lapses and misses those simple ones. But Steve's back again.
Yes, and that's the kind of shot that Ken should just take a little more time on. If he'd have punished Steve Davis for that error on the black, Steve would have had to sit in his chair and think about it. As it is, it's Ken Doherty who's got to sit there and wonder what's going to accrue to Steve from that error.
One. Steve Davis, 1.
Well, that was a chance for Ken Doherty, and lucky not to have left Steve an easier red.
Yes, a great shot that, and applauded by Ken Doherty. It's a shot that's used quite a lot these days, screwing back and sending the object ball up and down the table.
Yes, it's often played though with a little bit of luck required, but Steve Davis knew exactly where the red was going and exactly where the cue ball was going, and masterful shot, Ted.
Yes, quite brilliant, Ray. Oh, not quite. Fun and games here. Now he's going off the cushion to get at it this time. Well, I'm pleased you're live with this. This could go on all night.
Yes, of course, both players making sure, if possible, that there is no escape route to take the cue ball away down the table. The player who can get the cue ball there would gain the advantage. And I think it's possible now that Ken has left Steve chance off the red just above the black to take the cue ball down the other end. And that should break the impasse. As so often happens, Ken Doherty knocking a very good red in, but the cue ball finding the most awkward spot. And I think he would have been wiser not to have taken that one on. Steve Davis doing pretty much the same thing. Very difficult to control the cue ball off that and pot it.
6.
Yes, he played that well and deserved a better fate.
Steve Davis, 7.
So now we have all the colors in awkward positions. It appears he's come to rest very straight on the yellow.
Yes, I'll be very surprised if he takes it on, Ted, because there's no way he can get anywhere near the three reds.
Steve Davis.
3 points then, separating them now. He certainly caught that one all wrong, far too thick.
One.
And the green takes him a point in front.
4.
And Steve Davis, having lost the last two frames, certainly making sure it's become a tactical battle again.
Steve Davis. 5.
Long way to go in this match yet.
Yeah, it's a long way to go, as Ted said, because remember, these are the best of 19 frames, and Steve Davis slowing down this first session after losing 2 frames on the trot to the young Irishman after going to a 4-0 lead. So 4-2, Steve Davis leads Ken Doherty. Coming up at the end of our first programme here on BBC Two, the first day, facts and figures of what's been happening here so far I can give you, with the other scores of the other matches. There they are. Stephen Hendry, 6-3 up against Warren King, plays to a finish tonight. Tony Mio, just a frame in front against the newcomer Craig Edwards. The other scores there the afternoon, Alan Robidoux, 6-3 up against Steve Newbury. And Davis, as you know, has been watching it live, 4-2 against Ken Doherty. Hendry and King, they play to a finish tonight. Hendry starting and sparkling starting today with 2 century breaks. He plays to a finish tonight against Warren King. We have 2 programs. The first of those is at 9:05. Look forward to your company then. Second lap of the Sheffield Marathon.
Doherty, in his first season as a professional, gave Steve Davis yesterday something of a shock by coming back from 4-0 down and going into today 4-all, all square. Well, we're joining it at the start of today's play. Ken Doherty is at the table, about to break. Your commentators, John Spencer and Jack Carnham.
That was the danger there. Had to get the white tight on the back cushion to be safe. So the first chance goes to Ken.
Six. Seven.
And very quickly, Ken Doherty gets the black on its spot, which is very handy with all the loose reds.
50.
Happy with that shot though. Wanted a fuller contact on the red. No, not much chance of playing for this. Probably just see him make sure of the black.
And he's nicely on the yellow here to get back to the reds. Perhaps a slight angle, which would have been better straight, but nevertheless, seems to have handled that pretty well.
25. 48. Nine.
Well, he's got to be pretty good this time. It's not easy to get on the red here. He's got to play a good shot.
Obviously feeling confident, left another long red into the yellow pocket. Ken certainly couldn't wish for a better start than this. Very, very confidently indeed. Might have gone a little further for this red, but again, another long red into the yellow pocket. Back for the black.
Well, and this time he's got the angle on the blue here, but he's got to move something, I think.
That Jack, or he could play for that back red into the centre pocket, but could come round the angles. And that looks to have come out pretty good for him.
58.
Already 58 points in front.
Well, he's a trifle unlucky this time. Had he been on the black there, he's literally got every ball on the table on. And I think that's his favourite pocket job.
Yes, certainly doesn't look any problem at all to Ken. And of course, just need one more red now to leave Steve needing snookers.
Doherty, 64.
So Steve comes to the table with a possible 67 on the table, so there are just enough points to win.
And of course, this is Steve's problem. Can afford a couple of pinks.
15.
That was a beautifully judged shot by Steve there with check side to hold for that red. Now he just needs a rub of the green after this on the next colour. Two difficult reds.
I think Steve's obviously thinking of perhaps playing the double on the red near the right-hand cushion there after this black. Looks to have gone just about high enough to play the double and come back for the black.
Davis, 23.
Well, this green will put Steve in trouble. So now snooker's required.
Ken Doherty, 5. And the frame, Ken Doherty.
And Steve Davis weighs up the pros and cons and says that's enough. So Ken goes into the lead, 5 frames to 4.
touching ball. One. So. Eight. Thirty. $20. $21.
Very important for Steve here to get this break together. Just to knock Ken's confidence after that performance in the previous frame.
$26. $27.
Well, Steve has previously looked at the two reds to the left, top left of the cluster, and I believe they both go, so still got plenty there.
The problem, of course, is the black won't spot, I don't think, so it's going to hamper the pink and black now. Was as near as possible to its own spot on the top cushion.
34. $35. $42.
Now, Steve might well have been looking for a cannon onto these two balls, but well, it'll be interesting to see. Now, he obviously wasn't there and feels that he can take one of them.
$50. $51.
He didn't quite get hold of that. That's a pity. It's been an excellent break so far.
Yes, and
56.
that's probably as good a shot as he's played in the break. Brilliant positional shot.
57.
Has to keep above the black here, of course. Pink certainly isn't potable, but the black will always be potable. Problem for Steve, of course, not much chance of getting into the reds here.
$64.
Well, not the best of running for a very brave shot, but at least the kiss on the red there kept him off the cushion. So there's a good chance here he'll knock one in.
Yes, and of course any colour will do, Steve. 65 points in front, 67 on the table.
Steve Davis.
Well, applause for a really splendid break there, particularly in view of the startling start by young Ken. So we're in for quite a match. $7. So Doherty now accepting the fact that this frame has gone.
$8. 40. 15. 21. 22. 25.
'What tremendous snooker we've seen in these first 2 frames of this session. Virtually flawless.
32. 34. 37. 41. 46. 46.
No, he fails at the pink, but no matter. A wonderful display of snooker there by Steve. And he evens the score at 5-all.
And it's the best of 19 frames, remember.
Here, after 18 months in the doldrums by his standards, the touch, the successes suddenly disappearing, his reputation saved only by a win in the Irish Masters about a week ago, today finding himself in real trouble against a new professional, Ken Doherty. He's from the Republic of Ireland. He's just 21 years old and he turned professional last year, so far unranked. He's come up from the amateur ranks where he was the 1989 World Amateur Champion. As you can see, he had to play a succession of matches just to get here to the Crucible, and now up against Steve Davis, somebody he's never met in a tournament that mattered. When the match began yesterday, a first rounder, Davis went 4-0 up, but he struggled. Doherty found his touch. It went 4-all. Today, when it continued, Doherty was never behind. It was 7-6, and in frame 14, he was at it again, on a nice break of 59 against Davis's 38. And that made it 66. Just the colours left, they're all on their spots. Go on to a lead of 8-6 as he checks the scoreboard. But this is the Crucible. And it's his first time here. And he snatched at the and the yellow didn't go down. And Davis, who'd been sitting in his chair, suddenly had the chance to come back, a chance he thought he'd never get. The commentators are John Spencer and Jack Conn.
Two.
So 26 behind, 25 on the table. And if any man is dangerous in this position, it's this young man, Steve Davis. And just look at that. What a beautiful shot. That's a beautiful shot.
Yes, sir. Ken can get through to the side cushion there, but whether the middle pocket is just right in the way or not.
Yes, John, I think the middle pocket is just about in the way there. In fact, it's very awkward indeed.
Yes, and Ken, now the reverse, he'll be very upset because he certainly had the frame won.
Because things would be a little easier if he could really cue the ball, but he's pretty tight on the cushion. So he's looking at a 3-cushion job here.
Foul. Steve Davis, 4.
Steve obviously trying to decide whether to take this green on into the corner pocket. He knows if he gets it, it's a frame winner.
Well, he's took it the hard way, and I don't think he's very pleased with that.
Yes, he was certainly a long way out with that, and I would certainly expect Ken to knock this green into the centre. Well, he hasn't done, but been very fortunate. Well, perhaps the pressure's beginning to show a little out there.
Yes, this could have been a lot worse actually, but the problem is, can he keep the green safe?
Well, going this way, he's going to have to go at pace, because otherwise he would give a free ball should he miss it. And that was certainly an excellent shot from Steve. And that's another tremendous pop from Ken. Certainly didn't want to have to go for that, but no other alternative.
And Doherty, 3.
So 25 behind now. 22 on the table. Well, of course, if Steve really feels He doesn't fancy this at all. He could take the brown and contemplate a snooker off the blue. Now the pink, well, it's sitting pretty close to the cushion, so there's a chance.
Steve Davis, 4.
Well, he's got to be careful of the knuckle of the centre pocket here. He's got to bend it. He's got the knuckle.
Foul. Steve Davis, 5.
So now Steve requires 3 balls.
And that's a clever shot there from Steve. Not just playing the safety shot, but bringing the pink out into the table, so virtually a blue ball game now.
Now a good bounce. No, I don't think he has. It's a very, very fine cut.
Yes, Jack, it's certainly a finer cut than it looks on the screen.
Steve Davis.
And again, couldn't play a better safety shot than that.
while this rather puts Steve in the hot seat. I think he'll take this on, John.
Yes, but I don't think Ken could have played a much better shot than he did there. Probably the hardest shot on the table he had to play. And of course the problem for Steve here is if he takes the pink on, the white will be going away from the black, round the angles. So just the pink required for Ken. Steve requires both.
Well, a tremendous roar goes up there, and what a pot to take the frame. He leads 8 frames to 6.
All the tension and predictability of snooker in that frame. Doherty thought he'd lost it, and he still won it, 8-6. Davis started the next with 2 mistakes on both black and pink. And here it's Davis at the table, and he's behind by 12 points.
Well, had he been on a colour, of course, it would still have been very difficult to sort another red out there, so he's really going to tuck him up tight this time.
Steve Davis.
I'm trying to work a way out of it in this myself, Jack, and it looks very difficult indeed. Looks as though he's trying in the jaws of the pocket.
Foul and a miss. Steve Davis. 4.
Well, if he can, I think he could escape there from the bottom cushion between the green and the brown across the table and strike the 3 reds at the top of the table. But no.
Foul. Steve Davis. 4.
And this time no miss. And that was the way I think he should have gone.
6.
Well, it appears that Steve is going to attempt to get the red off the side cushion first. And that's another excellent shot from Steve.
Well, that should make him feel good. 3 beautiful shots on the trot there.
70.
Playing there for the yellow to take it back to the baulk end of the table. So just the yellow and green required, and he's over hit that one.
And Steve looks very annoyed with himself.
Yes, he's over hit that jack by a good 3 to 6 foot. Nevertheless, this has been a super break.
Foul. Steve Davis 20, Ken Doherty 4.
So just 13 points the difference, and well, anybody's game really. And look at this, if it runs. No.
Steve Davis 2.
Yes, and Steve is gradually forcing the errors from young Ken. So that makes Steve comparatively safe. A snooker required.
Steve Davis, 7.
Yeah, Doherty didn't get the snooker. Davis got the frame. 7 to him, 8 to Doherty. Remember, 10 is the target for a win. On to the next frame. Davis has started slightly the better. Doherty's at the table, 16-0 down, and nothing really on.
Well, that was a very risky shot that Ken took on there. And to make sure he got the snooker on this red into the centre. And a very strange choice of shot from Ken there.
And Steve just takes a second or two out whilst the referee just adjusts the balls.
7.
And one gets the impression that Ken Doherty is beginning to get a little bit anxious.
8. $15. 16. 22. 27. 28.
Yes, Steve was looking for a little angle on the blue there, and I'm afraid he hasn't got it. So it could be another long red into the right-hand corner.
Yes, and if he takes this one on, of course, he'll be splitting the other red, so this is the big shot of this frame.
$39. $40.
I think he's made sure that he's just low on this red into the corner so that he'll be splitting the other reds and potting this. Now 64 points in front, so just the black required to leave Ken needing snookers.
$55. $56.
So now frame safe. Can he make a really nice break?
$63. $64. $72. $79. $80. $85.
What a tremendous break this has been. Particularly the situation he's been in. 8-7 down.
Yes, John, I was going to remark that, well, that's rather unfortunate there, but he really seems to have found his concentration at the moment. I wonder if he can maintain it. So Ken says enough of that, and the frame score goes level at 8-all.
Yeah, but inspiration often follows success. It did with Davis, because after that he knocked in a break of 67 to the next frame, and for the first time today he led 9-8. He got nervous in the next, and after 2 fouls he's here and behind.
Yep. Be pleased with that.
8. 9.
And looks to have judged that to absolute perfection. Played with
50.
Just a touch of left-hand side on the white.
$60.
And taking this red, of course, will open up the black into both corner pockets.
$23.
And that just about opens everything up.
$30.
Yes, I feel that could be the frame and match winner now. 6 points in front.
$31.
And this is going to require a pretty accurate positional shot.
$34.
I don't think he's hard enough.
Well, he got
Steve
down to
Davis,
play that,
32.
John, as though there was no problem, but it certainly wasn't easy.
That's right, he got down in actual fact, Jack, as though that was the red he played for. But he was playing position on the red just to the left of the pink. It certainly wasn't an easy pot. Nevertheless, 10 points in front.
Well, that could be disastrous.
Yes, and again, Jack, I felt that was unnecessary. He could have slid down off the red near the blue, put the white near the jaws of the green pocket.
One. Seven. Eight.
Well, there's no doubt that this match in particular is proving a lot of things for Steve. He's had a lot of pressure in this match and he's withstood it
14.
and retaliated in his old style.
$15.
So now 25 points in front. Still requires this last red, so I think we'll probably see Steve either play a snooker or just make sure one of the ball colours is on a cushion.
Steve Davis, 15.
And he's virtually done both. So big trouble now for Ken.
Now, this is risky. Well played. But what's he leaving? Not much. But he may well be snookered after this.
Yes, that certainly isn't an easy shot. Could easily push that, so electing to go very fine off it, round towards the yellow pocket.
This is a difficult shot. Uneven angles here. Oh, bad luck. I thought he got it for a moment.
5.
And it's a free ball.
Yes, and I feel sure now that is the end. 30 points in front. So blue or pink to leave Ken needing snookers.
So there will be a little glow creeping over Steve at the moment, and maybe a rather disappointment for young Ken, who's put up a great battle. That's going in. No. But he snookered him.
6.
So 36 behind and just 35 remaining.
The problem for Ken, of course, now is he needs the blue, at least, otherwise he will require 2 snookers. I think we'll probably see him take the pink on.
Ken Doherty, 1. Two. Five.
Well, he's 30 points behind and just 22 remaining. So a lot to do. Oh dear.
Ken Doherty, 1.
And a little shake of the head by Ken there. Well, this surely is the nail in the coffin, so to speak. The champion's touch, and the applause says it all. Handshake, a very fine victory for Steve Davis, who wins by 10 frames to 8, and a gallant effort by Ken Doherty.
Steve Davis, what about that?
Yes, what about that? I honestly didn't think I was going to get over the line today. Ken was playing some very mature snooker, potted a great pink to go 8-6 when I thought I was going to win that frame. I just sensed I may do. And I thought he was playing stronger. And I'm very pleased and proud of myself. I surprised myself in sort of raising the standard when it was needed and knocked in a 90 and something, I can't remember what it was, but I hadn't been doing that too often this year. I started doing it in Ireland. And just surprising myself, just that fraction. And it's funny, after as many years as playing here at the Crucible, you still need to sort of, that proof that you're still able to do it when needed. So, and it's nice to be able to do that.
Have you come anywhere near to being tempted to give it up?
Snooker? Not at all, no. I would say that if I have in any way, shape or form fallen from grace in the game of snooker as far as form-wise, my form, even when I was playing badly, wasn't too bad. And I possibly unfairly would look around and say, well, even if I hadn't been playing very well throughout the season, I was still getting to major finals and still producing.
Yeah, this is
enough
probably
of a
the
standard.
problem you've got. You see, by your standards, people accept perfection. You're still number 2 here.
That's
You're a
right.
brilliant player, but people say, "Oh, he's gone. He's gone." I mean, you can accept that and come back into the game and start winning the rate you were winning before.
If I'd have considered even giving up just because I'd had a bad season, I think I'd be a fairly weak character. Just because I've had it all my own way for so long, and all of a sudden it wasn't going, so I get the hump and off I go and don't ever play the game again. But the hardest part possibly is sustaining that over many years in the game. That's possibly where the value is. Perhaps a sign of how great a player you are isn't if you do win the World Championships, but how many years you stay in the top part of the game. And snooker's so hard, regardless of the other players in the game, it's so hard to play that you can't always do it all the time. So there's a certain amount of realism that if you're not getting things right, you have to go back to the drawing board. But I didn't ever consider giving it up. It was nothing like that.
You couldn't have come much closer in this one, but how are things at home? How's Judy? How is the prospective father?
I'm trying to induce. I don't know if that's the right word. I'm sure that didn't help, but she'd probably be coming up next week, so might even come up tomorrow. So that's another side of things. That's an amazing thing to happen. It happens to a lot of people. And in a way, it's a miracle, but it's also nature. Until there's actually a baby around, I'm not really able to sort of comprehend what's going on. So there's just a larger lump appearing, which is amazing. I know if it hasn't changed me yet. I'm sure when I become a father, it will do. Touch wood, I will do.
A big day doesn't coincide with the final, does it?
Well, it depends how many close scares I get, I think. I hope not, but you can't predict things like that. I don't know. I just, I'll get on and do my job, and hopefully everything will be all right.
Best wishes to you both.
Thanks very much.
And well done today.
Cheers.
Well, he's got a few days to think about everything because his next match here is against his old rival Tony Mio, as you can see down there at the bottom of that section of the draw. And also in that half, we got a result today. Tony Knowles has just beaten John Virgo by the score of 10 frames to 8. And in the other half of the draw, that's Stephen Hendry's half. As you know, Stephen Hendry has started so well here with 3 centuries in his opening match yesterday. He now plays Alain Robidoux, the French-Canadian, who's beaten Steve Newbury of Wales by the score of 10 frames to 5. Steve James has started out today against the debut maker Ian Graham. James leading by the score of 6 frames to 3. That match is continued tomorrow. And Neil Foulds and Eddie Charlton are burning the midnight oil. They were 3-all, and just as I speak, Foulds has gone into the lead 4 frames to 3. But that's their first session, and they could be going on for a little while yet. Not strange to Eddie Charlton and Foulds, that is. So there's our situation. What happens tomorrow is this. On tomorrow, we've got Steve James to finish, and Dennis Taylor and Joe Johnson, 2 former champions, at the table. And almost certainly you'll be able to see that match as we start tomorrow here on BBC Two. Our start tomorrow is at 2:45.